Alright, now we got that trimmed, it's clear. So we'll go ahead and make these other 2 cuts on each of the boards. Now we're going to reposition this 5 degrees the opposite direction. We'll go ahead and make the cuts on the other side. Now we just got to take the chisel and chisel out this part. Since I don't have any dogs to hold this down, I'm actually just going to use some clamps, put a board here in the front. And that'll give me a surface to push up against while I'm chiseling these out. So we'll just do these one at a time. And again, now I can push up against this and it doesn't go anywhere because it's hitting up against this board. So we'll just go through here with a chisel, take our time and chisel this section out. There we go. We just repeat that on all the other sides and all the other boards. Alright, this top is dried at least well enough to continue on with this. So let's measure our width. Looks like we're looking at 16 1/4. So we need to try to do the same thing. And we're not going to be able to do it. So we're actually going to have to make it smaller. Right here I've got 15 1/4 roughly, so I guess we're going to go ahead and make this 15. So we got a little bit to trim off the edges to make it all even. We'll do that first, get that at 15, and then we'll trim the sides so that we can get it 15 square. Alright, let's reset this back to 0. Raise our blade back up. And now we can make our cut. So now we measure our 15 inches. And now we need to measure 15 inches across. It looks like it's 16 1/4. So about 5/8 of an inch off of each side. Alright, now just to kind of make this a little bit of an octagon, we're going to go ahead and mark it at 3 inches on each corner, draw a line, and then go ahead and cut those off. So basically what we need to do, since I'm going to cut out some grooves here for the legs to fit into, we need to measure across, and right now I have, it's like 17 inches. So half of 17 is what, 8.5? So we need 8.5 inches. That will be our starting point for center. And then we need to take away the thickness of the board. So 3/4 of an inch on each side. So we've got 3/4 here. That'd be 7 3/4. and then 3/4 this way will be 9 1/4. What we need to do is we need to put our fence up first at 9 1/2 and then at 7 1/2 so that we can cut our grooves here so that we can put our feet or our legs into it. Alright, so I'm ready for my first cut. I actually put the blade height up to 1/2 inch because we're only cutting one side of this, so it won't be too deep. We'll still have another inch left. So we'll go ahead and put this at a diagonal, and then we'll go ahead and make our first cut. Now we're going to turn it 90 degrees and go ahead and make our other cut. And now we're going to set our fence to the 9 1/4. There we go. Now we just need to chisel those out. So now that we got that carved out, we do a dry fit real quick with the feet or the legs, and we're going to go ahead and just put a mark where the legs are going. We're going to use this mark so that we can tell where to drill some holes here. So we can pull this back out, and 2 of these legs are a little tight. So we've got a line here on all the legs, basically just showing what space is going to be covered by the legs. So now we just need to drill a hole, or a couple actually. So we're going to go just pull this a little off the edge of the table, and we're going to put 2 holes for each leg. This is where this differs from the design of the other one. The way he did it on his is he didn't put any of these grooves that I'm putting here in the top or in the legs, and he didn't use screws either. He just glued it all up, which can work, but it's not as strong as doing both. So I'm just doing this. He wanted to preserve the top and make sure that it looked good. What we're going to do instead to fix that is we're going to countersink the holes. That way we can put a plug in them afterwards. So to countersink the holes, just get you a drill bit that's as big or a little bigger than the head of the bolt or the head of the screw that you're going to use, and we'll just drill down just a little bit. Alright, so now we need to glue up these joints. Go ahead and spread our glue out. Just put a generous coat in there. In this case, I'm actually going to use a brush. I want to get it around everywhere if I can, because this is going to be the main part that you're sitting on, that you're standing on. I want to make sure this thing is glued up well. Go ahead and put our legs back in place. These are the tight ones. We're going to hammer those down a little bit, get them to seat well. Flip this over and go ahead and put the other 2 in place. Just make sure when you're doing this that you orient the legs properly. Make sure they're canted out, and make sure that the part that we've cut off for the support down at the bottom, make sure that that is actually closer to the bottom. Or at least that it's in the proper orientation for wherever you put it. And like I said, let's make sure we get it right. And now I'm going to use 2.5-inch deck screws. This should cinch it down and hold it well until the glue dries, and add some support later on. And already it's pretty sturdy. But as soon as we put some supports in here, it'll be that much better. Alright, since I don't trust that I actually made this perfect, I'm actually going to make each of these pieces per each side. So I'm going to measure them off for each side specifically. So we'll start with this one. And it's just under 13 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut one right about 13 inches, and then I'm going to set it up there, see how much I need to cut off, and I'm going to keep trimming it off until I get it to fit properly. So as you can see, it hangs off just a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and trim it just a little more. I think that's just about got it. We'll go ahead and repeat that on all the other sides. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and pre-drill some of these. So we can take this piece out and we'll pre-drill the next piece. And we'll do the same thing on the next one. We're going to be able to do this with all of them except for one, because that one's only going to be able to be glued in. So we set them back up in place, and then we glue and screw them all in. Alright, now that that's in place, we're going to go ahead and take a ratchet strap and use that for a clamp. Just to hold the ratchet strap in place and keep it from sliding down. Going to put little screws right here around the edge to keep it from sliding. Alright, so now we just gotta wait. Alright, so here we go. This is the finished product. As you can see, the top turned out pretty well. Sanded out pretty well. You can see where the wood putty was, although that doesn't really matter. If you used a plug, it would have been a lot nicer, and then you could actually stain this. With the wood putty, probably not going to be able to. It'll show, I'm sure. I think it turned out pretty well. If I did this again, one of the things I would have changed is, instead of using the 2x6s here on these places at the bottom, I would have probably used a 2x4, just because these kind of stick out. If you can see, they stick out quite a bit further. It's no big deal. This is just going to be a shop stool, so it really doesn't matter. The only place that really matters is up here. I just want it to be smooth, so if I sit on it, I'm not getting splinters. Everything's all glued up. I think this thing's pretty sturdy. Let's see. We'll do the test, because this is also going to be a kind of a step stool. So, as you can see, it's fine. My floor is a little uneven. Either that or the legs are a little uneven, but I could always sand these, and then it'll be just fine. If you guys wanted to do this yourself, really all you need is 3 tools. You can get by with using a saw, a hand saw like this, a chisel, to be able to carve out the grooves, and then a drill. Only reason why I didn't do it is because I've got other things that I can use to make it a little faster, but it could have just as easily been done with these. So I don't know if you got any questions, send them my way. I appreciate you guys watching. Y'all take care.